physically, Tareeqah Muhammadiyah presents to you a unique 3-day retreat designed to uplift you spiritually and unlock the secrets of Hajj. Come and experience your spiritual journey under the Purifiers of Pilgrimage Retreat. You can still reach and attain the blessings of Hajj from the comforts of your home, socially distant but spiritually connected. Friday 16th July to Sunday 18th July. Register now on Eventbrite. Spiritual pilgrimage to the pleasure of the Almighty as we near the month of Zul Hijjah. With restrictions to perform Hajj physically, Tareeqah Muhammadiyah presents to you a unique 3-day retreat designed to uplift you spiritually and unlock the secrets of Hajj. Come and experience your spiritual journey under the Purifiers of Pilgrimage Retreat. You can still reach and attain the blessings of Hajj from the comforts of your home, socially distant but spiritually connected. Friday 16th July to Sunday 18th July. Register now on Eventbrite. Spiritual pilgrimage to the pleasure of the Almighty as we near the month of Zul Hijjah. With restrictions to perform Hajj physically, Tareeqah Muhammadiyah presents to you.
And who also know why a person is being tested and what could be the reason so that he can or she can react rightly. तो सब हस्तियों अंबिया अलैहिस्सलाम पाक हस्तियों से ज़्यादा सबसे ज़्यादा आजमाइश हुई हजूर अलैहिस्सलाम की, आपने खुद फरमाया। फिर उसके बाद अंबिया रसूल अंबिया की अलैहिमुस्सलाम, उसके बाद अहले बैत कराम सहाबा कराम रिजवान अजमाइन की, और फिर उसके बाद औलिया कराम। तो हमारी भी अपने अपने दर्जे में हो रही है। अब आप भी आजमाइश में होंगे, ये हो ही नहीं सकता, पैदा हुए तो आजमाइश में ना, ये हो ही नहीं सकता। आप में से कोई एक बंदा भी इस किसी न किसी आजमाइश में ना हो। The one who says, जो ये कहता है मैं अब ठीक हूं, मैं बड़ा खुश हूं, मेरी आजमाइश नहीं हो रही, उसकी सबसे ज्यादा आजमाइश हो रही है। The person says, no, I am fine, my finances is fine, my family is fine, and alhamdulillah, everything. His test is even at a more severe level, because blessing, the test of blessing is more subtler and more severe than the test of actually problems and difficulties. जो नेमत की आजमाइश होती है वो मुसीबत की आजमाइश से भी सख्त होती है। मुसीबत की आजमाइश में तो बड़े बड़े गुनाहगार अल्लाह की तरफ रुजू कर लेते हैं, वो नेमत में बड़े बड़े नेकोकार अल्लाह की तरफ से मुंह फेर लेते हैं। आप अलैहिस्सलाम ने फरमाया कि सबसे ज्यादा मेरी आजमाइश की गई है पूरे इंसानों में से, अंबिया में से, amongst the prophets, I am the one who has been mostly severely tested and tried. And he said then after that is Anbiya, other Anbiya, then actually the people who were close to Anbiya like Ahlul Bayt, their families, as you saw the test of Sayyidina Imam Hussein was such that actually parallel cannot be found. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam was tested through the ordering the slaughtering of the son. But that did not happen. At the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him. But Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu anhu, he had to go through not one son, but many of son, slaughtering of many of son in front of his eyes. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the most tried and tested person. So in his life is the summary of the life of all the prophets and all the messengers. We also at our baby level, our low level, wherever our iman is, we also are being tested. No one is free from that. Once you are born on this face of the earth, that part starts. Now, the successful one is the one who knows how to react rightly, and who also know why a person is being tested and what could be the reason, so that he can or she can react rightly. तो सब हस्तियों अम्बिया अलैहिस्सलाम पाक हस्तियों से ज़्यादा सबसे ज़्यादा आजमाइश हुई हजूर अलैहिस्सलाम की, आपने खुद फरमाया। फिर उसके बाद अम्बिया रसूल अम्बिया की अलैहिमुस्सलाम, उसके बाद अहले बैत कराम सहाबा कराम रिजवान अजमाइन की, और फिर उसके बाद औलिया कराम। तो हमारी भी अपने अपने दर्जे में हो रही है। अब आप भी आजमाइश में होंगे, ये हो ही नहीं सकता, पैदा हुए तो आजमाइश में ना, ये हो ही नहीं सकता। आप में से कोई एक बंदा भी इस किसी न किसी आजमाइश में ना हो। द वन हु सेज, जो ये कहता है मैं अब ठीक हूं, मैं बड़ा खुश हूं, मेरी आजमाइश नहीं हो रही, उसकी सबसे ज्यादा आजमाइश हो रही है। द पर्सन सेज नो आई एम फाइन, my finances is fine, my family is fine, alhamdulillah, everything. His test is even at a more severe level, because blessing, the test of blessing is more subtler and more severe than the test of actually problems and difficulties. जो नेमत की आजमाइश होती है वो मुसीबत की आजमाइश से भी सख्त होती है। मुसीबत की आजमाइश में तो बड़े बड़े गुनाहगार अल्लाह की तरफ रुजू कर लेते हैं, वो नेमत में बड़े बड़े नेकोकार अल्लाह की तरफ से मुंह फेर लेते हैं। आप अलैहिस्सलाम ने फरमाया कि सबसे ज्यादा मेरी आजमाइश की गई है पूरे इंसानों में से, अंबिया में से, amongst the prophets, I am the one who has been mostly severely tested and tried.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to all my brothers and sisters to this very special and most important weekly session and appointment in our weekly calendar. As we have been notified time and time again, this weekly ascension session is so important for the seeker of the spiritual path who wants to achieve closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his beloved messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that we really need to try and put everything else aside to make it for this appointment every week. And I know it's difficult. I know there's a lot of distractions. We're living in really busy times of hustle and bustle and so much things going on in our lives, especially now with the summer holidays coming very close now. Many kids are breaking up tomorrow as we speak. And, myself, even during the day or day before, I always say I'm going to get home early and I'm going to relax, and then I'll have plenty of time to set myself up and be ready for this session. But every week it's almost the same story. It's always rush, 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 panic. It's nearly 7 o'clock. Oh my God, I haven't set this up. I need to go get my laptop, get ready. And it's a similar story, no doubt, for most of you, because we're all living in the same dunya. We've got similar distractions. And, the shaitan is there to distract you, and he's working on you He's working on you on a day-by-day basis. For example, we've got this retreat tomorrow, and many of you probably have said many weeks ago when you first announced this, that we are going to be joining, we'll be there, we're going to register. But a day before the actual event, or even a few days, many of you drop out or are unable to do so because you're very busy. And the shaitan says, don't worry, there's another retreat coming, another 6 to 8 weeks time. Get yourself ready for that. This one, you're too busy. You've got so much going on at the moment. So ignore this one, but the next one, you'll be ready for that. But there's two things to note. Number one, can anybody guarantee you and myself that we will be around in another 6 to 8 weeks time for a future retreat? But one thing is guaranteed, that if we are still around, the same game will be played again by the shaitan for us to, he'll be preoccupying us with the same things that which we are busy now, or very similar things, to stop us from attending that future retreat as well. So his objective is just to work on you one step at a time. He's not worried about the future. He just wants to stop you from attending this retreat tomorrow, or this session of spiritual ascension just today. He's not bothered about next week, one day at a time. So next week, he'll have a different strategy, or just keep you busy doing the same things again. So these are just things for me and you to note, that we need to be more steadfast, much more proactive, and rather than being defensive, we need to be the ones who are more proactive to make sure that we clear our diary and we make the time and the effort to attend this weekly majlis, and also any special event that has been organized, like the spiritual retreat. So inshallah, without further ado, we will continue to go towards the process of cleansing lataif as a prelude to the spiritual transfer. And today we have Ustad Tasif, who will be leading the session, and we will have other ustads later on for the feedback. And what I would like you all to do now is basically sit yourself down comfortably, get rid of all the distractions, and let's focus. I know, as I've said before, it's hot, it's a long day, and many of you have had a busy day today, but let's make that special effort to really focus and be in the present moment for this short time that we are together now. So I hand you over to Ustad Tasif to lead the next part of this session. Over to Ustad Tasif.
Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to everyone. Inshallah, we'll dive straight into it today, as all of us, inshallah, are more or less familiar. And as our brother Zafar was mentioning and reminding us, let's make a strong intention as we are going into this practice and this MURAQBA, that the whole day we have spent in the service of others, in the fulfilling our duties and responsibilities. Now is the time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now is the time to focus and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through this practice of the ascension, to spiritually connect to our beloved teacher Sayyidina Shaykh Ahmed Dabbagh Hafidhullah, and through him to the Mashayikh, the Awliyaullah, the Sahaba, the Prophets and Messengers, and ultimately to the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is really our strong intention as we now sit comfortably. Take a few deep breaths before we begin, inshallah, and just as we mentioning, just really bring yourselves in the present moment. Inshallah, now we'll begin by refreshing our intention. This practice of the MURAQBA of ascension is ultimately only for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now we will proceed to protect ourselves for this journey by reciting the protection amals, which will be Surah Fatiha once, Ayatul Kursi once, and the three Quls, Qul Hu Allahu Ahad, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq, and Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas 3 times in order. And then once you finish, you blow in your hands and rub all over the body. So read this now, beginning with Surah Fatiha. Inshallah, now that we have completed our protection, amal, we will enter and practice 3 thoughts and mindsets. And for those of us who maybe have not had the opportunity to pray the 2 rakat of Salatul Hajjah, 2 units of prayer before this amal, which is recommended, highly recommended, then inshallah now really from the bottom of your heart, really reflect on how needy you are. And the first mindset of humbleness, bring any thought of humbleness, such as the fact that in these holy and blessed days of Dhul Hijjah, Allah is rewarding us and giving us so much opportunity. Even in these days, we have disobeyed Him and been heedless of Him and His remembrance, Ya Allah. So bring yourself in the state of humbleness, Ya Allah. Really, we're not deserving of these presence and these connection with the Mashayikhs due to our sins and our heedlessness. And now bring the thought of shukr, of gratitude, and reflect on the truth that there is nothing really special or deserving about me, but rather the Mashayikh and ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose us out of His favor and blessed us with so many gifts and treasures that really we cannot thank Him enough. Out of billions and billions of people, He chose us to be amongst those who can be associated and connected to the beloved teacher, and through the blessed teacher to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now that our hearts are filled with gratitude, we bring the thought of reliance. So bring any thought which helps you reflect on the truth that everything ultimately is in the hands of Allah, and our effort, whatever knowledge, whatever thought we have, whatever ideas we have, really all of it is of no use unless Allah supports us and helps us and gives us the permission to travel. So really we don't rely on our knowledge, our understanding, but only on Allah, the Exalted. And now we'll repeat after me the preparation amals, which will be istighfar 3 times, and then durood and salawat 3 times, and then la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah 3 times. Inshallah, I will read and you can repeat after me. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Astaghfirullah الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Now refresh the 3 keys that verily Allah is with us, He is seeing us and He is hearing us. And you can see above us the beautiful blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal is illuminated in a white color, and this beautiful white is spreading and filling the whole sky, and the light is descending from the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal down towards you. And as you breathe in through your nose deeply, you see the light entering through your head and slowly, slowly descending and filling your whole body from the head down to the toes. And as you breathe out, all of the darkness of sin, the heedlessness, the anxieties, all of the thoughts that are dominating your mind and heart are being removed with the breathing out. So you're breathing in and filling the body from the head down through the chest, the legs, the toes, the arms, everything is being filled. And as you breathe out, the worries, the darkness, the sins are leaving. And now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal is illuminated in the red color. And as you're breathing in, this red light is descending through the nose inside you, in coming down into the red latifa in the groin area. And as you breathe out, you see all the darkness leaving from behind the latifa. So breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal is illuminated in an orange colored light. And as you breathe in, you see the orange light descending through the nose down to the orange latifa in the navel. And as you breathe out, you see the latifa being cleansed of the darkness and evil, leaving now from behind the latifa. Now refresh the three keys that Allah verily is with us. He is seeing us and He is hearing us. And you can see now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal above you illuminated in the yellow color. And as you breathe in, the yellow light descends down through your nose into the yellow latifa in the stomach area. And as you breathe out, you see the darkness is leaving from behind the latifa. Now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal is illuminated in the green color. And as you breathe in, the green light descends from the blessed name down through your nose into the green latifa in the chest area. And as you breathe out, you see the darkness leaving the latifa and the latifa being cleansed. So breathe in deeply through the nose and out through the mouth. Now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal, you see it's illuminated in a light blue color, and as you breathe in, the light blue light is descending inside you through the nose, down to the light blue latifa in the throat, and as you breathe out, you see the latifa being cleansed and the darkness leaving from behind it. And now the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal is illuminated in the dark blue color, and as you breathe in, the dark blue light descends from the blessed name down and enters you directly through the forehead into the dark blue latifa situated in the forehead. And as you breathe out, you see the latifa being cleansed, and all the darkness is leaving from behind the latifa. And now refresh the presence of Allah. Verily He's with us, seeing us and hearing us. And now you can see the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jalla above you, illuminated in a beautiful white color. And as you are breathing in, the white light descends and enters the white latifa directly, which is above your head in the crown. And as you are breathing in, the latifa is being cleansed. And as you breathe out, you can see the darkness leaving from behind the Latifa. And now you continue to see the blessed name of Allah Azza wa Jal illuminated in a beautiful white color. And as the light descends, it enters you through the top of your head, the top Latifa, and the light now descends and enters your whole body, and you can see all the Latifas being cleansed. And as the white light enters and fills you more and more, slowly you feel more and more light. Your body is being filled with this light and begins slowly to disappear. As you continue to breathe in through the nose and out, you now see each of the Latifas beginning to disappear, beginning with the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the light blue, the dark blue, and the white. As you continue to breathe in and out, all that is left is the breath and the spirit. And now you begin to construct the spiritual body in front of you like a mirror reflection of yourself. And if you are unable to see that, then see the blessed teacher in front of you. Take a few deep breaths, and when you are ready, with one golden breath, transfer the spirit into the spiritual body and begin your journey by remembering the teacher, bringing the thought of the teacher at the beginning. When you are ready, take the golden breath, transfer, and continue the journey. Now, wherever you have reached, seek permission and slowly begin to return.
Ya Nabi salam alayka, Ya Rasul salam alayka, Ya Habib salam alayka, salawatullah alayka, Ya Nabi salam Ya Rasul salam alayka, Ya Habib salam alayka, salawatullah alayka. طلع البدر علينا من ثنية الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داعي يا نبي سلام عليك رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله तेरी आरज़ू में मरना तेरी जोस्तजू में जीना यही मेरी जिंदगी है यही मेरी बंदगी है या नबी सलाम अलैका
Jazakallah, Ustad Tasif, for leading that session. And inshallah ta'ala, it is now your turn, my brothers and sisters, to offer your feedback for this session. Or again, any questions that you may have, any obstacles, any struggles. And let's hear from yourselves. If anybody wants to offer their feedback online, live, share with us live, then please raise your hand and we will unmute you and allow you to speak. And for those of you who want to write, please share on the question and answer section, not in a chat function, but in the question and answer section, because it's just easier to read and relay from there. And for those of you who may have joined us late, just a reminder that tomorrow we start our very special weekend retreat, spiritual retreat. So this, for those of you who may not be familiar with these retreats, it's an extension of this session that you have, but with lots more added to it in terms of multiple MURAQBA sessions and lots more discourses, where we will give you very special sort of knowledge as regards to the various, the focus of this retreat, as many of you know, is on the Hajj theme, because obviously in the Dhul Hijjah, this is the time of Hajj. And many of us are unable to physically travel to Hajj, but spiritually, there is no limit, there is no restriction. And we will be teaching you on the very special spiritual dimensions of the physical Hajj. And through the MURAQBA, we will also be able to give you an insight, a spiritual insight, inshallah ta'ala, with the sort of special places of Hajj that which you may be able to visit through the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's not unusual at all. From past experience, many people have been able to experience such miraculous feats. So don't limit yourselves and doubt yourselves. Inshallah, will be a great opportunity if you do decide to participate. We have 2 hands raised. I'm going to ask our brother Abdul Basit to share his experience online. If you can unmute Brother Abdul Basit, and Brother Abdul Basit, say your salams and start relaying your experience, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We can hear you nice and well.
Okay, right. I joined half an hour late, so I was outside. But when you were on the blue Lataif, I started for my Lataif, so I was able to into my own body, and then subsequently I transfer into the spiritual body of the teacher. I ask for forgiveness and for my shortcomings and ask for nasiha. I initially lay down my own problems or issues, challenges in terms of family, children, etc. And alhamdulillah, the message I get is you should win hearts of your family and bring them, by winning their hearts, you then bring them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that process, you must have patience and keep this your focus. So this objective of bringing them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be my focus, my objective. The next nasiha I get is to continue the La ilaha illallah zikr that I'm doing more and more with more focus. And I should also try to speak and talk to Allah and hand over myself to Him. I should think about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from me. I should leave all matters to Allah and have patience, and then also show the best of my contact. After some time, we go to Imam Hussein radiallahu anh. So I was with the teacher as well as with the Grand Master, Hazrat Abdul Aziz Sabah alayhi. The message I get from Imam Hussein is that life is a battlefield and you should continue your struggle, your jihad. After Imam Hussein, we move on to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, to their house in Kufa. There I also feel the presence of Hazrat Abdul Qadir Jilani, Sayyidullah. And the nasiha that Hazrat Ali gives me is that you are of us, don't worry. Your destiny is to reach us, to be with us. I asked them nasiha around how to build more love for my teacher. They say, think how much they love you and how much they always think about you. After that, I return to my body. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Brother Abdul Basit. I'm now going to invite Imam Kes to give a feedback on that experience, please. Imam Kes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdul Basit, for your feedback and what you've mentioned. The resonating message that you've been saying, you've been told in the experience that you've had, is about patience. And it seems as though that sometimes what happens in the spiritual journey when doing dawah to oneself as well as dawah to relatives and close families is that we can get agitated. Why this brother? Why my daughter? Why my son? Why my mother? Why my father? Why my colleague? Why are they not listening to me? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? We can get agitated. We can get a bit annoyed. And what happens, rather than showing the best of characters, we actually show the worst of characters sometimes with our own children, with our own siblings, with our own partners, our brothers, our sisters, our elders. We tend to show more harshness towards our relatives than what we do to our external family members or external brothers and sisters or maybe colleagues. So patience here is that one thing you should always remember is that Hidayat lies in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not God and we're not the messenger. We just convey the message, and it's up to the people then to either to accept or to actually follow and to actually do. We can't force anybody. La yukallifu nafsan illa wus'aha, and we cannot do that. You try your best as you've been told. You do your best. You convey the message. You tell others. You try to help others. Whether they accept or not, whether they do or not, it doesn't matter. From your side, you've done that responsibility. Now you pray and make dua to Allah so that these people benefit and they actually accept whatever you're doing and they remain steadfast in whatever you actually taught. So that's one thing, is that, and then sometimes what can happen is that a person can also get agitated with oneself. What I mean by that is that, again, many brothers and sisters who listen, they may be experiencing this, that you try to be, you are trying your best. What happens? The nafs lets you down. You fall. You want to actually please, as I said, you want to please the Mashayikh, you want to please Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happens is that you are fully committed, you're fully devoted. For example, these are the days of Hijjah, but you keep on falling, and you keep on slipping here and slipping there. And what's happening is that sometimes you say to the nafs is that you cannot, shaitan then puts in your head, you're just pathetic, you can't do anything, you're just bad, you're doomed to failure. So what happens is that we then start beating up the nafs rather than helping the nafs in terms of, yes, encouraging and motivating, saying don't give up, don't give up. We become impatient with the nafs as well. So, and because of this impatience, we then get down and slip and start reducing our activities, reducing our association with good people, reducing our association and ta'alluq with the majlises, reducing our association with the amals, the namaz, and so on and so on. Eventually, we're down in the dumps. So here is that patience with oneself, is that if it happens, if you do fall, and if it does happen that it's not actually this thing, keep on trying, don't give up. And also, just like if you see somebody else falling down and they're actually getting down and they're upset, what sort of nasihah would you give them? You also give the nasihah to your own nafs as well, and motivate yourself as well, encourage yourself to keep on doing. The last bit where you heard about the love of the Shaykh is that, yes, is that really, no matter what happens, is that we can never love the Mashayikh, one's teacher, the way they love us. Never. Just like we can never love Rasulullah like he loves us, just like we never love Allah now is below, we can never love Allah like he deserves to be. That's what Rasulullah said. Subhanaka ma ahbabaka ma hakka hubbaka, is that we have not been able to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he deserves to be loved. We can never do that. We can only try. So the way you can say is that look at the level of attention and detail and the way they're actually showing us the courtesy, the love, and the devotion, and the way in which they're showing us the path, and every hour, every minute, every second they're spending to actually for our goodness, for our betterment, because of the love for their students. We should be seeing that, and then we should try to materialize that love in forms of action and try to imitate that as much as possible, given that, and be reciprocal of that love. How is that the love that they're giving us, one of the way to show and express that love, of giving that love back, is acting upon what they're actually telling us to do. That is a sign of actually showing love. Then to actually emulate them as much as possible, both inward and outwardly, of who they are, what they are, the persona, the personality. That is a way of showing love to them. Then helping them in their mission, that is a way of showing the love in which they're giving us. So act upon the guidance yourself, imitating them as much as possible, and helping them in the mission, and being supportive and being beneficial to our brothers and sisters in Tareeqah, as well as general to the Muslim and non-Muslim throughout the world. That is how you'll actually show and express that love of one Shaykh. Jazakumullah khairan sana jazak.
Jazakallah Imam Kes. As you can see, brothers and sisters, so much pearls of wisdom. Even though the advice was tailored to Brother Abdul Basit, but there's so much in there for everybody to take from. Everybody wants to always know how to love the Mashayikh even more, how to love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's a lesson there for each and every one of us. Before I go to one Q&A feedback, I just want to ask, somebody's raised their hand, Majid K. I don't know who that is. If you've done that accidentally, then please lower your hand. Or if you would like to share your experience online, please send us a message so we can be sure that you haven't raised your hand accidentally. Anonymous attendee, Assalamu alaikum, blessed teachers. I went through the Lataif, struggled slightly on a couple, but I sought the teacher. I see my son on top of the mountain looking down as I'm climbing up with the blessed Sheikh Sahib and my father. I was in white and my father and son were in ihram. We make it to the top. I see the old Kaaba and do sujood. I see myself with my father and my son and the blessed teacher on the mountain. I then seek counsel as to what I should do. And the blessed teacher says, be patient and it will happen if Allah wills. There are other bits that I see, but I can't clearly remember, and I don't want to quote something that I'm not sure. Jazakallah. Over to Imam Kes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman. MashaAllah, again, a very beautiful scene and scenario that you're actually relating and you're seeing. Here is that what you're being shown is exactly is that the struggle you went through and you struggled through the Lataif is that this journey is like the journey of the path to purification is like a mountain that you have to actually traverse and actually climb to achieve success. It's like climbing. You have to climb and you have to struggle in order to achieve and actually get to the top and to overcome the desires of the nafs and all these other things. How you'll do that, one of the ways to facilitate you to doing that is you've been shown two things. One is that you're shown that state of your son and your father and your son with the all in ihram is that be in a state of ihram. And what does the state of ihram mean? Is that not just gowning yourself and basically wearing the white sheath. This is just a symbolic representation. In the state of ihram, for example, you're not allowed to hurt someone. You're not allowed to do any sinful activities. You're not allowed to think really any sinful ways. You're not allowed to go and hunt even for animals, even though it's lawful. You're not allowed to go and hunt. So imagine at the state of ihram that you're not allowed to go and fight. You're not allowed to slander. You're not allowed to, let alone having a cigarette here and there. No, you're not allowed to do any of these evil acts, let alone even hunting to feed yourself, etc. You're not even allowed to do that. Here is that state of ihram means being in a state of tawbah and also being in a state of alertness and being in a state of presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you're saying that that being in that state, that is going to help you in your journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, you're seeing that you're climbing up the stairs, the blessed Sheikh and also the father, is that you're seeing your father, the spiritual father, is that here on this journey, in order to actually traverse this journey, one needs a guide, one needs a teacher, and you should be following the advice of the teacher, following the advice of the guide. By what? As you saw when you got to the top, is that you saw the Kaaba and you do sujood, is by making your direction, purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also you're doing it for all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sujood is submission, by submitting to the teacher, submitting to what the instruction of teachers are. And then if you do that, inshallah, you'll achieve success and felicity. And all this, what they're saying is that, again, what we mentioned before, it answered your question as well, is that be patient. Whatever obstacles that comes in your way in life presents you, be it a family, marital, financial, be it with one nafs, be it with one habits, whatever it is, be patient. Nothing happens overnight. Be patient.
Zafar, have you lost Imam Case?
Gee, I don't know whether I thought it was just my laptop, but it looks like we have lost him.
Gee.
Can you hear me now?
They're back.
Yes.
So being in the state of ihram, submitting the teacher and following the guidance, and if you do that and keeping Allah's goal in mind, that He is my goal, He is what I want or what I want to achieve, and being patient, that is how you're going to overcome and be successful in your journey. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Imam Kes, for that feedback. I'm going to go now to another live participant. Brother Majid Khan, if you can offer your salams and relay your experience, we are ready for you now.
Assalamu alaikum to all the brothers. So
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
after the cleansing of Lataif, I was able to transfer. And as soon as I transferred, I thought of Hazrat Saab and conveyed my my regrets that I've not been a good student, and sort of expressed my current state to Hazrat Saab, and I was wanting that the Hazrat Saab would be able to remove some, like, the darkness inside me. So Hazrat Saab put his hand inside, like through my I think through my mouth side, to remove certain darkness, and then he poured in some water, and then I was again in a state of a bit of regret that, you know, I've not been able to take full benefit of such a great blessing of Hazrat Saab. And then the scene changed, and we were in the Mazar Sharif of Hazrat Sheikh Abdul Aziz Tabak, and then again to himself, you know, I conveyed my, outside the Mazar Sharif, I conveyed my regret that having such blessed teachers, I'm still sort of not utilizing, you know, the blessings, all the blessings that they're offering. And I wasn't expecting, because I was outside the Mazar Sharif, and then from inside the Mazar Sharif, I sort of felt that, you know, Hazrat Saab sort of kissed my forehead, and then I wanted to stay at the Mazar Sharif in Fez, and wanted to do some like, I wanted to do some khidmah of the Mazar, and wanted to stay there, and then wanted some guidance from Hazrat Saab. And then Hazrat Saab advised me to look after my family, my wife. I don't remember the few other things, but it was again related to my family and to the Tareeqah. And while I was sort of speaking to him, you know, we were asked to return, alhamdulillah. And I just wanted to add to the brothers, if they could help me as well. I've become a bit more content on just the zikr and the MURAQBA dua, and I've been avoiding coming to the Thursday session or the Monday session that we have in the US, this transfer session. I thought I was getting a lot of benefit out of the zikr that the mentor had given me, and the MURAQBA dua, and this contentment on just that, and not wanting to move forward into this transfer. Once I do it, like, I'm absolutely so relieved right now, in such a like a peaceful state right now. But for some reason, after a few weeks, it's something that I avoid, and I just need some help from the teachers as well here, of the sense of contentment that I just want to stick with the zikr, askar, MURAQBA duas, and the other amals, and avoid this transfer sessions.
Jazakallah, Brother Majid Khan. I will request Imam Qais to elaborate on that, please, and give you some advice if they're able to.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Are you able to hear me clearly, brothers? Yes?
Yeah, Ji.
Okay. So, Brother Majid, mashallah, one always feels regret and remorse when one is not actually doing what you are capable of doing, or what you should be doing. And that is a good sign, mashallah. It's good. You shouldn't, like I said, I think I mentioned it before, is one has to be patient with oneself, even with oneself. Don't beat yourself up so much. And inshallah, the hurdles and the obstacles that comes up in the way, with time, these things will actually go, and it'll become easier for you. With regards to the nisya that you're giving about treating family, see, many people think askar, do another dhikr, do another muraqabah, do no. Sometimes these are masters of science of purification. They know exactly how to do your tarbiyah. So here the nisya is to help your family, and especially your wife. That is where your khair will be. That is where your tazkiyah will be. That is where your actually achievement to closeness to Allah will be. If you, for this time, for whatever nasihah given, it means there must be some lacking, or there must be some deficiency, or there must be something which is there that is actually blocking you, maybe, or maybe hindering you. So focus more on there, and when that is done, and when you're actually helping more and more, then inshallah that will subside, and it'll become easier for you then to achieve more proximity and nearness to Allah with other means and other ways. So that's one side. About this issue with regards to what yourself mentioned about not being content with just the dhikr and muraqabah and what your mentor is given, and not trying to attend this gathering, that is an option. That is something that one doesn't, it's not a farda as such upon an individual, where there's no compulsion upon anybody in Deen or Islam, or upon yourself and Tareeqah. There's no compulsion upon you to do anything that you don't need to do. But what will happen is that eventually the MURAQBA that you're doing and dhikr that you do, eventually what will happen is that slowly that energy, that motivation that you had will wane. It'll go down. And then you feel upset and down. And then even the dhikr azkar that you're doing regularly, that you're doing there, that will also go as well eventually, slowly. What you should be seeing as these Thursday gathering and the Monday gathering that you do are like charging points, as Brother Zafar has been mentioning every time. They're like charging points, where basically is that throughout the week you've been working, you've been helping, you've been in khidmah, you've been doing other things, you've been educating, you've been learning, you've been doing all sorts of dinner things, also dinner things. What happened? You've been completely, basically de-energized. You're completely energy-less. You're gone, you're drained. Spiritually, physically, you're drained. And what happens is that these are charging points on a Monday gathering that you have, and this Thursday gathering is that it's a charging point to boost your spiritual energy, boost your levels of retention, boost your levels of concentration, boost your level of motivation, so that then when you go back to the whatever activity you're doing with your family, helping them, your ibadah that you're doing, your worship that you're doing, your work that you're doing, every aspect of your life, whatever you're doing, it will help you and only facilitate you and make it easy for you. That is what these things are. Thirdly is that also is one way is that because it's a fun, it's a skill that Allah is giving you, and a blessing that the Mashayikh is giving you to for you to be enable you to actually transfer and interact. Other people, as you hear, many people say, "I see nothing is blank. I hear nothing is blank. I feel that." You have been given such a gift by the Mashayikh that your spirit can actually interact and be with those blessed spirit in Fez, Morocco, with Sayyidina Abdul Aziz, with Sayyidina Ahmad Dabbagh, with other Mashayikh if need be. You've been given such a blessing, but what you're doing is that it's one way. I'm not saying you are, but in one way is that you are doing bare shukri, not being thankful. And what you're saying is that, yes, I can be, for example, now people want to have holiday, they want to go all the way to Pakistan, or maybe they want to go to, let's say, Europe, but because of COVID situation you can't travel. The hukumat, the government has put that situation, or the other country has put that situation where you're not able to travel. Here the restriction has been lifted for you spiritually. There is no restriction for you now. If you say, you proclaim that I want to be with Hazrat Sahab, I want to be with the Mashayikh, well, you've been given the perfect opportunity spiritually to be with these Mashayikh, and yet still you're not utilizing it. Do you see now your statement saying, I feel content, I want to do khidmat? Then your statement of saying that, one statement of saying, if one is saying, I love Hazrat Sahab, I love Mashayikh, well, you have the ability to be with them at least once in the week, but you're choosing not to. I'm not criticizing you, Brother Ajid, please don't take me wrong. What I'm trying to say is that, look, you've been given a gift, and you've been taught a way, a methodology in which the Mashayikh have given, where hundreds and millions and billions of people don't know how to do, but you've been given that gift to tap into the spiritual world and to be with his Mashayikh. You should utilize that gift and show gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Mashayikh that they're giving you such a technique. Now at least come and try your best to participate and actually try and actually be with those Mashayikh. And if you're being with them other times, and see the Thursday gathering as a charging point, something along the lines that, you, for example, I didn't need to say anything really. Whatever I said to the first vision, the interpretation, it covers yourself, and the second person mentioned, it covers them as well. Is that whatever I mentioned, it covers it. If you heard that, it would be sufficient. But I'll just elaborate a little bit more, inshallah. So I hope if you're still a little bit bewildered, a little bit confused, then do indeed contact Brother Sajid or one of your mentors who is your mentor and speak to them. But inshallah, I hope I lay your fears in whatever way you're thinking and your mindset is.
Jazakallah, Imam Kes. I've got a feedback on the Q&A section from the sister Saika. I'm going to read that one out now. I cleansed my lataifs at yellow. The blessed teacher said to me, become the master of your emotions, not a slave. At green, they tell me to try and stay in a state of wudu throughout the day, as this will help me. When I cleanse the light blue, I also see dark blue, and I'm switching between the two. The blessed teacher says to me to try to control your thoughts and do not voice or express it in a bad, ill manner. After the golden breath, we are in fairs, and Hazrat Sahib are walking quickly through the graveyard to get to the Mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabag, Rahimullah. I'm following, and I grab their chadar, and I feel emotional and wipe away my tears with their chadar. They slow down and smile. We sit at the Mazar, and Hazrat Sahib asks, why am I so anxious? I mentioned that I think I offend people and they don't like me helping. They respond, if you're helping for the sake of Allah and nothing else, then there is no problem with this. I go on to say, but people mind and dislike. The blessed teacher respond that if you are helping for the sake of Allah and nothing else, then there is no problem. I go on to say, people mind and dislike. The blessed teacher respond that they should check their intention and for whose pleasure are they doing it for. They remind me if I do things for the pleasure of Allah and anyone questions, then the matter is with Allah, not me. So don't think, as Allah will do the thinking for you. Hazrat Sahib said that the path to the pleasure of Allah is not easy, especially when we are on a tariq. It's a battle of nafs, egos and thoughts, but remember that no pain is greater than the pain or torment of the hellfire. The path of purification may be long and hard, but would you rather struggle here for a short time rather than in the hellfire, as really this is the only choice we have been asked to make. I say to Hazrat Sahib, I feel my journey is slow and stagnated. They say the journey to the pleasure of Allah is the one. It has a start and no real end. The end is the day of judgment. The journey of Tazkiyah is lifelong. Look how many years Iblis served Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before he fell. So the journey of Tazkiyah never ends. Hazrat Sahib tell me to focus on my zikr. We do the La ilaha illallah zikr together, and then we descend. I take permission to leave. Jazakallah. Over to Imam Kes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. MashaAllah, it's the guidance that you're being given is very self-explanatory and clear. Couple of things I'm just going to extrapolate from that, so that inshallah is others can also benefit as well. Is that sometimes what happens is that there are people who, because of their nature and how they are, they can be quite loud. Some people can be quite shy. Some people are quite exuberant. Some people are quite to the point, and so on and so on. There are different types of people because everybody is different. Everybody's makeups are different. So once I'll just give you a narration that when the ayah Qul idu Allahu rahmana yama tad'u falal asma'ul husna is that there was an argument between two Sahaba. I won't mention their names. One Sahaba used to recite the Salah loudly. They thought you should recite loud, and they do loudly that the household folks at night time they would also hear. And there also be maybe they said, but they'll hear it. Everybody would know that there is another Sahaba is that they'll recite the Salah quietly. So what happened was that when it came that when they heard one Sahaba reciting loudly, another Sahaba recited quietly, they went to the Prophet ﷺ and they said, "Who is correct?" They said both is correct. Is that in other words that you can choose the middle way. So if it's a nighttime, they gave a solution. In other words, is that whatever your mizaj is, whatever your way is, there's nothing wrong as long as you're not who you're doing it for. You're doing it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said this 3 times, is that if you're not doing it for revenge, if you're not doing it to actually belittle, if you're not doing it out of arrogance, if you're not doing it for anything, sirf and sirf for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, then that is good and that is correct. One is your rectifying intention. They're saying that how you say it, what you say, is that one is that control your emotions, try your best now to express that in the best possible way. But overall is that you should see that why you're doing this, you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If now you say something which maybe doesn't sound beautiful and poetic like other people, there are some brothers and sisters, they speak so elegantly, beautifully, that they're admonishing you, but they're saying it in a beautiful way. And there are some brothers and sisters, they say good, but they say it in such a way that it seems the same bad. It doesn't matter. As long as everybody is not equal and everybody can't be like the mellow and the gentle, and everybody can't be as harsh. There are qualities in both. And if it's one of those, if yourself is one of those that is quite loud and quite blunt and can be to the point, and all you can do is try your best to beautify that character, beautify that way in which you're saying it. And if you have done that, then inshallah Aziz, and if you're speaking the truth, end of matter, don't worry about it. There's always a learning curve that you can always do things better, but if you tried your best, inshallah, leave the matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's something that our brothers and sisters should also pay attention to as well, is that we think because if you're on the path of tazkiyah, you're on the path of Sufiya, everything should be sweet and mellow and gentle. I mean that your words should be like flowers. Your things should be like beautiful. No, not necessarily is the case that when you're doing, if you're in the field of any administration that you have to do, and if you have to do some, if you've got responsibilities, and then if you're on the battlefield, then flowers may not work. You need to be making sure that the line is ordered, that the order is, and the command is actually being taken, and actually whatever order is being given by the general, that is not being carried out. Otherwise, you're going to lose the battle. It's a different scenario completely. So if you've got responsibilities, and if you're in the field of different departments and you have responsibilities, and you have to then sometime actually then be blunt with certain people and say to, we should be mature enough to actually be able to take that this person is actually not really mocking me or ridiculing me or admonishing me. Yes, there's a responsibility on their heads and shoulders. Yes, they are actually trying to actually, if I should be the person who's been spoken to, should think, yes, they have responsibility. Yes, they're actually trying to actually say something because we have a duty at large, and we have to fulfill that, and we should take it. It's good for us. The person who's giving it, like if it's yourself, is that you should try to actually say it in the best possible way. But so long as you're not actually being derogatory, so long as you're not actually conveying it in a derogatory way and in a bad way, this is fine, inshallah Aziz. Hopefully, yes, we can always do better, but this is fine. So don't get yourself upset and beat yourself up that you see, sometimes we think that I wish I could be like this sister. She's very sweet. We're all different temperaments. Everybody's different. So don't beat yourself up in thinking that I should be speaking like that. No, you can try, but so long as you are not being derogatory, you're not saying something which is against Sharia and Sunnah and so on, and you're actually trying your best to convey it, that's all that can be expected of you. The person receiving should actually think good and say, yes, this is correct, it's fine, and they're not actually being repulsive, and they're not being rude, and they're not being thinking, this is fine, it's correct, and I should take it. And that person who's being spoken to, you'll find that if that person is speaking the truth, in your heart you'll say that person has spoken the truth. You'll see it yourself. You'll feel it yourself, even though they're shouting and screaming sometimes. I'm not saying you should do that, but you say that yes, Waki was such bully, that this is true, this is correct. If I ponder a little bit, that's one thing aside. I'm sorry, brother Zafar. I know you're irritated, and maybe I'm taking a bit longer, but I'm just
no, not at all. Please carry on.
So the second point here you mentioned about first of all was about the intention, and second bit about I've lost my channel of thought. Hey, yes, the journey that is the people get upset that the journey is going slow and they're getting stagnated. This is not a sprint. This journey is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Remember this always, is that What we put on our heads is that we should be now running like 100-meter race, and within 10 seconds, we should have reached there. We should have got there. No, rather see it as a marathon up until death and beyond that. Is that whatever we can do up until death, nobody knows when our death is going to be. I try my best. There will be ups and downs. There will be times and situations where I'll be high and there'll be lows. It'll be like a roller coaster. It'll be highs and lows. Sometimes I'll fall and sometimes I'll succeed. Sometimes I'll fall, sometimes I'll succeed. Sometimes I'll be going fast and sometimes I'll be slow. And if you're seeing that your journey is being stagnated or you're going slow, then if you reflect upon your actions, i.e. whatever your corresponding amals is, have you lost touch with your amals? Have you lost touch with the azkars and prescribed? Have you lost touch with the enthusiasm and motivation? Have you lost touch with attending the gathering? What happens is many of our brothers and sisters who are going into, again, I'm not picking anybody, please don't feel offended. Those brothers and sisters, especially who are going to different departments and who are going to different fields of khidmah and doing this and that, sometimes, yes, you're doing the job and task that you're doing, but don't lose track of the fact of who you are and where you came from and what you're here for. Ultimately, you come here for tazkiyah. Ultimately, you come here to achieve the pleasure of Allah. Ultimately, you come here to achieve Allah's rida. Now, if you come here, do not ever lose sight of that. Do not ever forget that. That is what we've come here for. Is that I come here for tazkiyah. So if I'm in a department, be the media, a bit teaching, bit jamia, bit dawa, bit whatever, whichever department you're falling under and you're doing activities, if you're doing those activities, but you completely lost your amals, you completely lost your thing, you know that you are failing in terms of the purpose that you came for. Yes, the responsibility that you've been given, that's an additional responsibility. Your primary thing should have been is that I got to make sure I maintain my dhikr azkars, and the other thing will eventually, because if your fuel, your ammunition, your protection, your armory starts weighing, it goes less and less and less, eventually this will be reciprocal and it will show in the departments and the activity that you're doing. It will go less as well. Eventually catch up with you. Eventually what you see is that this brother is going to disappear, this sister disappeared, they're not doing the activity, they're not doing why? Primarily is because we have left doing our amals and our deeds, and primarily because we've left coming and attending the gatherings. This is what's happened. So if you want to keep on progressing and accelerating, first thing is do your amals, do your dhikr. Second thing is attend the gatherings. Third thing is keep in contact with the mentor. Do these three things and your journey will keep on progressing, inshallah Aziz. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Imam Qais, and I would like to thank everyone who has participated online on the feedback section. As you can see, many people benefit. The question may be personally related from yourself and you think this advice is just specifically for yourself, but so many people benefit from that, because sometimes the advice that comes out of that is quite generic. And before we close, for those of you who may have posted in the section and we didn't get to read that out, please repost this in the spiritual groups that we've got on the WhatsApp. So as you know, many ustads are available there to give feedback as well, because it's not physically possible to read every feedback out that we have on this once a week session. Tomorrow, as you know, a reminder again, we have a very special retreat starting. For those of you who are registered, who will be joining, I look forward to welcoming you there tomorrow, and really look forward to this weekend, because a lot of hard work and preparation has gone in preparing this particular retreat, and all previous retreats also. But this one, it's been in the making for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And that's why I always stress to people that's very important to do try and participate, because there's so much wealth of knowledge and information that will be shared. And inshallah ta'ala, this can be a game changer for you. It could be the one catalyst which will really set you up for your next level of spiritual growth. And I have witnessed this many times before in previous retreats, where people have left the retreat with a completely different mindset, and that has really helped them to become more steadfast on this journey towards the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even if you haven't registered, this is still your chance. Do register, make that sacrifice and put those preparations and arrangements in place to attend with full body and mind and attention. For those of you especially coming physically, and even those sisters and brothers joining us online, do this with that full commitment and treat it like the itikaf that we had. So inshallah ta'ala, we look forward to speaking to you over the weekend if you are with us. Otherwise, it will be same time, same place next week. Jazakallah, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.